Oh, you want to be tied up? Sure, you can do that if you want to. It is so freaking steamy. They are insane for an Otome game, and they're the hottest scenes I've ever read. The kiss scenes. Oh, oh my god. So steamy. It's so hot, honestly. These games will throw you off your couch because of their hotness. But first, let's say, what do I define as steamy? For me, steamy is if you can't see everything, so explicit games are not steamy for me. It's about the hotness in a character or in a scene that makes me feel all fuzzy. So this ranking is highly subjective. So for example, Sympathy Kiss is not on the list because it didn't make me feel anything. It's not a hot game for me, it's not a steamy game for me. I will list the games from least steamy to most steamy. And the least steamy 0D game for me was Koezaru wa Kaihana, or something with crimson flower in the localization. And I'm speaking of the censored console version and not the explicit PC version. Explicit doesn't count, so it's not steamy for me. And the censored version, I already said that in my review about the game, they cut so much of the game. They cut all intimate scenes. You get some kisses here and there or some horny scenes depending on the character, but the overall game isn't really steamy, as all the steamy scenes, or all the scenes that could potentially have been steamy, are cut. It has some hot scenes, but they are far and few in between. And overall, despite the 0D ranking, it got also for like romance stuff. It's not as steamy as you would expect. Though Koezaru has in theory the most potentially steamy setting, as it's about abducting women in order to get children, because there's kind of a disease going around only women catch, and thus women are scarce, and the kingdoms rob each other of the women to survive, kinda. And they have really interesting laws for women. It could be steamy, but in the PC version it's steamy in a really non-con way, so explicit non-con scenes, and then in the censored version it just doesn't make a lot of sense anymore. Most of the steamy scenes take place when the characters are not in love, and for me, having a steamy scene without love doesn't feel steamy to me. So bye Koezaru, not steamy. The next game is Chonodoku, Hana no Kusari, which is also localized now, and the console version is, like Koezaru, a censored version of the PC version. Chonodoku is set in the Taisho era, and after your father was murdered, you are now confronted with the death of your family, which is like slowly falling down, and only one pushy stranger wants to marry you in order to save you financially. But luckily, there are also the other allies who might help you. And luckily, this game was censored way better, like I also said in my review about the game, and still had some really sweet steamy scenes, and they were all like the peak of the loved relationship. The most of them were like sweet and wholesome. In the censored version, that's not the case for the explicit adult version. But in the censored version, they were all sweet and like nicely steamy because the game is really short. Of course, you can't really spend half of the game, well, you can spend half of the game in bed, like Koezaru in the PC version, and probably in the PC version of Chonodoku as well, to some extent. But I played the censored version, and there we sometimes also leave the bedroom. But when the steamy scenes come, they are very sweet. Then next, which might surprise you, is already Tengoku Struggle, which will also be localized, which is by the same team as Olympia Story, Oni Let Mirari no Tenbin. And the story overall is that prisoners of hell escape, and you as the guard in prison of hell have to catch them. The reason why it's so low in this list is that I felt the steamy scenes weren't connected well with the love story and with the love progression overall, but sometimes felt just attached to the ending, kind of because we have to do it now, because we wanted to do a steamy game, and that's why we just shove it in at the end of the game, you know? There are a lot of steamy scenes, like in between, not you know, like fulfillment bad steamy scenes, but like little steamy scenes in between, and like all the kiss scenes are really, really cute, and they are so hot, and like my favorite trope are kisses in the rain, and that's, I think this might have one of my favorite rain kiss scenes, together with two other games I'm gonna mention. They have, gosh, like rain kiss scenes. What's up with them? Why are they so amazing? The MC has to do something in order to help the allies, which is by definition steamy. So by definition, something steamy will happen in each route to help them, which is such an amazing idea, honestly. Who came up with that? The next game might also surprise you, and it did surprise me as well. And it was Shinobikoi Utsutsu. You get scouted for a very prestigious ninja school because you have a very special power. When you get all excited and flustered and your heart starts beating, emit your Medo powers. And that makes the men around you act as if they are in love with you. So if that isn't the perfect setup for an Otome game, why isn't every Otome game like that? Well, Clicolity Eyes is, but it's not as good. It's not on the list. So yeah, that's the premise, that whenever you go Doki Doki, you go Medo. What? Make the guys fall in love with you for like a minute. But what the guys say when they are in that Medo mode is... It is so freaking steamy. I thought that they would say like, I love you, let me marry you, no, but they say like, oh, you want to be tied up? Sure, you can do that if you want to. Or there are scenes where some characters has like, that's what your inside feels like. And I played it after the explicit version of Koyazaru, so I was kind of... That's explicit. That's so explicit. How can you say that? Like, it's so... The game is C to C, but it should so be C to D because of the stuff they say. It's so hot, honestly. It's one of the games where, like, if you perceive it as hot, definitely depends on whether you like the character, the design of the character, the voice actor and everything, but they are all gorgeous, and I'll make a review soon. I just couldn't believe what was happening in this game. It was so freaking steamy without ever being like really sexually. It was just what they said and how you could understand those sentences. I mean, maybe it was just in my head, but I don't think so. And this game is so full of fan service. Like, it's the most fan service game I've seen because of the whole setup with that Medo mode. And then you get assigned the LI you want to date. So when you choose a route, you say, okay, this LI will be my partner, and you have to train together. And that training is he says sweet words to you in order like to train you to deal with sweet words and not get flustered so easily, so you don't always omit your Medo powers. So you have the Medo powers, and then you have the training where your LI says sweet words to you just because. And some characters make me feel so hot, like it was uncomfortably hot, like, oh my god, what is happening here? And there are also scenes with all the LIs together swarming you because of that power and fighting for you, and it's too much. It's amazing. I will continue to scream in a review soon. Let's stop it here. The next game might also come as a surprise, and that's Tengai ni Mao. It's a C to B game, but it's so freaking steamy. Like, the characters are also hot because I guess that's also because I like the art style a lot. It's from the same artist as Jaco no Lila and Cupid Parasite and Café Enchanté and what else? Yeah. And Tanayaka Nari wa Gaichizoku. And I just like her art style so much because she draws mature men who have like mature breast muscles and abs and everything. Oh yeah, right, what happens in this game? Let's start with that. You help a family restaurant and move in with the family who owns that restaurant. As you're living together, you often see the guys in their night yukata, and of course they don't care to cover themselves properly. So you often see them in really suggestive clothing in the yukata, where you see like all they have to offer. And that's just pure bliss, and especially in that mature art style where they don't look like 12-year-olds but more like 32-year-olds, though they're probably 20. Yeah, I think the oldest LIs are around 30. There are so many scenes with like sexy misunderstandings, or where accidentally something really sexy happens, like, you know, the hugging from behind or falling on top of each other and touching a body part by accident. Also in combination with the really gorgeous voice actors. It's so sweet and like so romantically steamy. And like, you got your kabedons, you get your yukadons, you get your touching accidentally, you get your craving for love, you get your hugging from behind. And all these scenes with the LIs have like such high tension because they look so hot. And because you awaken all those desires in them, and they have to learn to deal with that. So now you are the target of the suddenly awakened desire of those 5 brothers. Like, how I love it. It's so good. It's like such a nice, almost innocent steamy, because nothing happens, but all the scenes are like still so full of tension. Love it. Another very tense game is Dance with Devils. And Dance with Devils, you suddenly get attacked by vampires and devils, and I guess the devils are helping you, but they're kind of hunting you as well. This is officially Zero C, like Shinobi Koi, but a lot of the scenes are immensely suggestive, and the tension is really, really high. Be it the plot, of course, but also the romantic scenes. They're so good. The characters are also very different, but a lot of them are kind of pushy and like energetic. And like you often see like half naked upper body sprites, or like a bathing scene, a tickling with a feather scene. And so again, it's not explicit and it's not really sexual. It's just so steamy, because it's not yet sexual, but it's so close. And I think that's what makes it so exciting, because they're not doing anything, but it feels like they're doing something. Again, the voice actors are, oh wow, taking all voice actors into consideration, I think it's one of the games with the best voice acting overall, because they also use dummy head mics, what means you hear them like where they are, and you hear them whispering next to you. And in steamy scenes, oh my god. If you've played Diabolic Lovers, you know what I mean. It's so good, and all the characters are so attractive. They are so cool, and they're strong and powerful, and then come at you with that power and that energy and steam you away. It's a bliss. It's a bliss. So we're entering the really steamy waters now, like games which are obviously steamy, I think. So until now, except for Koizado and Chonodoku, these were hidden steamy games, because they don't have a COD ranking. They just have these little illusions everywhere, and you can interpret so much in what's happening. That's what made them so steamy. But the next games are like, they're the real shit. Honestly, those games are like kindergarten against that. I love them. I personally do prefer that kind of steam, which isn't so obvious. I like the hidden kind of steam, which is so steamy that you don't see anything, but you still know something's there, you know. Okay, but the next ones you see a bit. That's of course Cupid Parasite. I'm so much looking forward to the FD, you have no idea. Cupid Parasite is also localized, so I think most of you know that you're Cupid and you have to matchmake 5 very, very undateable characters, but of course end up falling in love with them yourself. And what I really appreciate about this game is the really good writing. I just replayed Shelby's Route because he's my favorite character, because he's so hot. I mean, his appearance, his voice acting, his character, the tension, every little scene. Like, even if it's not a steamy scene, how he acts towards Lynette is, I think it's so full of tension, and also sexual tension, because as soon as he meets her, he's like, oh, I remember women now. Women are hot. And yeah, so is he. He's horny. And most characters in this game are horny, including the MC, and that of course drives forward the tension in the scenes and makes them more steamy, because, you know, when everyone's horny, that's good for everyone. That again, combined with the beautiful art by one of my favorite artists. You remember Tengai Nimao girl? The kiss scenes. Oh, they are so beautiful. I personally perceive it as even steamier kissing, like either when the lips meet or when tongues meet. And that happens a lot in this game. Oh, it's my third favorite rain kissing scene in this game. First one would probably be Tengoku, and the second is still to come. And I'm already a bit short of breath thinking about those scenes. Oh my god. I think there are a few games with that many kiss scenes and that many, like, especially like sexy CGs, which are so hot, and even like naked upper body sprites, of course, naked upper body CGs, everything. Wow. It's a pure joy, and it's such a beautiful and well written story on top of that, which honestly counts for all games, but you know. Like, if you don't know if you like steamy games, Cupid Parasite is a really good one to try. Next up, and that's kind of an unfair entry, is the Bidoshana FD. Because as many FDs, it's there to give you fan service, to give you sweet and steamy scenes. And girl, did it deliver. I don't think the first game was especially steamy. The FD ramped it up so much. Like I also said it in my review, it's not about intensity of the steam, but it's like the amount of steam. The routes are relatively short, with like 3 hours, but that means you have almost like 3 hours of pure steam. But like, imagine having to read maybe it's more like an hour of Steam. It's still so much. All of them are so horny, but until they get to the goal, it might take them a while, but it's highly entertaining. And I think it's even more steamy if you're not there yet. Like the way leading to the bad scene, or the way leading, you know, to the ultimate steam, I think that's way more steamy for me. And the Bidushana FD has that a lot, that the slowly getting there. You might know I love Benke and I replayed his scene probably like 4 times. A lot of useful vocabulary. Another steamy entry you all know is Pure Fjorde. I chose the first one. The second one is also steamy, so I think both. You could put both on the list. As you know, in Pure Fjorde you get abducted by hot mafia guys and they start to do hot stuff with you. This is also by one of my favorite artists, because again, the man looks so mature, and for me, the more mature the man, the hotter he is for me. And then of course they all have splendid voice acting, and okay, I'm just debating the main point, you know, young, yeah, that's all I have to say. He's the reason I love this game. He's the reason I love Otome games. He's my favorite character of all because he's the hottest of all. Because nothing is hotter than a psychotic killer, I guess. And like an unpredictable beast. He's really the monster among men, but he's hot. So, and he's himself so hot. Now I'm hot and oh my god, what's happening? And then of course the other characters are also very, very hot. They have a really nice mixture of being steamy and yet really gentle and romantic and delicate. And it's always about their love. So beautiful. Just beautiful steam. Entering the top 3. But before that, I have an honorable mention to make. It didn't make the cut, but I still think it's kind of steamy. And that's Clap. You know, where you spank the guys while they don't wear a lot or lose their upper body clothings. It did make me feel flustered a lot. And I was a bit embarrassed at the beginning to use this mini game. But I think if you want to hear your favorite voice actor moan, I hope he's in Clap. Otherwise you're doomed. Because you can make him moan with just a click on the touch screen. And the story is that you become a teacher at a yokai school, and those yokai are always in danger to turn wild, and in order to stop them, you have to spank them. The love story is very cute, but not particularly steamy. It's really the spanking part, which isn't a huge part of the game, but still it's a step in the right direction, I guess. It's a step in a steamy direction. It makes the game steamy and interesting and fun and embarrassing in a good way. Okay, then we can come to the top 3. Another usually well-known entry on Steamy lists is of course Olympia Soiree, where this setting is the best setting for a steamy scene, because you not only have to marry, but you have to make children to prevent the white color from dying out. Makes sense. And I think if it wasn't for Akaza, the locked true root, it wouldn't be that high in the list, but his root, that are like 1 or 2 scenes that are they are insane for an Otome game, and they show so much skin and they are so intense, and the voice actor is so much into it. Wow. It's wow. I think I don't have ever heard a voice actor doing like such a splendid job in a steamy scene. Of course his voice, because it's so hoarse and deep, it's already hot, no matter what he says, of course. But then in the steamy scenes, I can't put it into words, it's just too much. But also all the other characters, like there are a lot of very high tension and steamy scenes throughout until you at the end reach the ultimate steamy scene, so to say. And yeah, they are also romantic. A lot of characters are very determined on what they want. And that of course is really perfect for the steamy scenes, because they push for the steamy scenes to happen, they keep pushing. That's just perfect for a steamy scene. And to have some, you know, more vigorous and dominant allies, and most of them in Olympia Soiree act that way. They put a lot of work on the steamy scenes, they make a lot of sense and they fit the characters. They're really well implemented in the story, and I think that's kind of rare for very steamy scenes. Next is Nilat Midari no Tenbin, the main game and the FD. It's one game for me because I got the Switch version. It's one. I played them back to back, so it's one game. First, it's Satori art, so it's the same artist like Diabolic Lovers, Tengoku Struggle, Olympia Soiree. And it's also the same team as an Olympia Soiree and Tengoku Struggle. But I think Nidat Midari is my favorite game of those. I mean, they are all amazing. They are all in this list. But Nidat Midari no Tenbin has such a special atmosphere and feel to it because of the Taisho setting. Similarly to Olympia Soiree, you have the caged MC, the shy bird, like growing into a mature woman, coming of age story. But connected to her brother who tried to commit suicide. And it turns out there are magical books which make their readers do things they wouldn't really want to do, that influence the reader's mind, drive them to commit suicide or kill other people. The MC has the ability to detect those books and then joins a special police force who tries to prevent those book murder cases and tries to protect the citizens from these cursed books. And you can of course fall in love with all your colleagues, and they are all freaking hot. One of the colleagues is voiced by my favorite voice actor, Yang. The steamy scenes, they are really intense. They're really, like, they put a lot of effort and work into them. Also to connect them with the story. And like as soon as the characters are in love, they get steamy. They get really, really steamy. Usually, like when they come in contact, it doesn't end with a kiss. They can't stop. When they kiss, it's going to be all way. But still, it feels nicely connected to their relationship development. Depending on the characters, see how the steamy scenes really progress their relationship. They all are already in love, but I feel in this game, the steamy scenes are a really nice expression of their love. It feels so wholesome still. And the FD, because it's a steamy game already, the FD is like, it's so much more steamy even. You can't. It's so beautiful because it's romantic and steamy. If there's a level for romance and for steam, they are both at 100%. And that combine that, like, love of your life with steaminess. And it's so beautiful, all those scenes. It just feels so natural to have those steamy scenes. And that's also the game, the sequel of Nidat Midari no Tenbin. What was it called? Kuryuri en Yotan? That has my second favorite rain kiss scene because it has so much tension, because the characters have been separated and then meet again, and he just like pushes her against the wall in the rain and kisses her relentlessly because they have missed each other so much. And it's so beautiful. I think what I like about the rain kiss scenes is that you don't care about anything, that it's just finally you together, and it can rain, it can storm, nothing else matters than that kiss in that moment. I think that's so vastly romantic about those rainy kiss scenes. They're so full of passion because nothing else matters, and they look hot for all that matters. It's so like raw. Nidat Midari no Tenbin made that really clear in every scene, like how important the characters are, and how important that steamy scene is as an expression of their love. Definitely want to replay it over Christmas. It's so lovely, this game. It's so beautiful, and the story is so well written. It's so interesting, this murder mystery and everything, and the side characters and the vast net of side characters, you can't imagine. You have to play it. While I was making this list, I debated a lot like how to order the games, because they're all special in their own way and I love them all. They're all steamy. For this game, I was sure this is gonna be number one. There is no other number one. It's not possible. That's Jako no Lala. This is the most steamy game that fits my taste so well, and I think it's the most steamy game I will ever play, especially like if we stick to my definition of steam, that is not explicit but just makes you feel so hot that you emit steam yourself and then you can't see your switch and then it's all steamy. That's kind of steam. Because again, the setting is just the hottest ever. You are a spy and your specialty is to seduce your target in order to get information from them. You see, the setting of seducing the man in order to get information is already immensely hot. And then on top of that comes what I personally love so much, is that Arabian night setting, this exotic setting. The clothes are all really revealing because I guess it's really hot there. So you see a lot of the muscles in every character again. Jako no Laila is by my favorite artist, Yuya, who also made Tengai Nimo and Cupid Parasite. Again, like the way she draws the characters, they're so mature and manly for my perception because of the muscles and the mature faces, and they really look like grown up and strong. So yeah, already the sprites themselves are just too hot to be true. And with the most beautiful backgrounds I've ever seen, and beautiful like exotic Arabian music, so beautiful. And then of course we have the whole like story thing, like seduce them in order to get information. The MC is forced to get physically close really quickly, and in the first route that is recommended to play, you immediately start by seducing him and immediately get so hot CGs. The CGs in this game, they are all steamy CGs. There's no boring, oh let's do something sweet together. So there are some sweet CGs, but most of them are so hot, with the like really strong colors and a lot of either darkness or actually steam around them. There are bathing scenes a lot. They are all like literally steamy, so that is the steamiest of steamy games, because it's literally steamy. There's steam in the game, steam in the bathroom, and a lot of naked upper body sprites, some upper body scenes and CGs as well. All these men are mature, and the MC as well, so they are quite confident about their physical desires, which is I think really good for steamy scenes of both parties, kind of sure what they want and what they don't want. Yeah, can make it a perfect experience for them and for us as the players. And then what comes on top of this already, which is like too much, was the reason I then actually paused the game, because this is part of the Triangle project. Testa Konolaila, Tricoliti Eyes and Kotakai Contrast. And what is special about these games, that they all have threesome roots. And in Tricoliti I haven't played Kotakai Contrast, but in Tricoliti I just played one threesome ending, and that was more like a friendship ending. This has nothing to do with friendship. These are true threesome endings. They love each other, like she loves two boys and those two men love her. And they kind of love sharing her to some extent. So these threesome endings are real, and they are something else. They are the hottest scenes I've ever read. They are so intense, so full of passion and pleasure, and beautiful art, and beautiful voice acting. And I expected them to be, to end up as a threesome couple at the end, and that's kind of it. But the game actually went a step further and showcased the life of them three together. Yeah, as I said, they are all like sexually confident people, so, and they like each other a lot. So there are a lot of steamy situations occurring in day-to-day life. And that caught me off guard so much. I mean, it was really hot. Can we leave it here? It was, yeah, it was good, but I love it. And I haven't finished it yet, because I don't want it to end. It's so good, because also the plot is so good with the espionage plot, and the characters are really likable and interesting. And then those steamy scenes, not even threesome scenes, like Otome fans always wish for a harem game or for harem roots, and most of them are like in harem animes, they just end up friendship endings. I think that's the closest I've seen coming to a harem game. As I said, I still have to play the other Tricoliti endings. Maybe they are better than that friendship ending. I don't expect much of Kotakai Contrast, because it's C2B and it's really like school life drama. But yeah, if you want a harem game, you at least get a threesome route, which is not kidding with you. It's real stuff. And the MC is so strong and relatable and cool and pretty, and everything is so pretty in this game. It's good. Can recommend. I will probably finish it next year or something, so then I will make a review about it, as well as all the other games. So for most of the games I already have reviews about them. I will link them all in the description box. And for those I haven't yet, they will come anytime soon. And those weren't even all Steamy games, because I need Steamy games in my life, so I have a backlog of Steamy games. Steamy games I have yet to play are Yoshiwara Higambana, which is like Chonodoku and Koezadu, the censored version of a R18 PC game, but I've heard it's really well censored, and it's about a prostitute in the Yoshiwara and how she deals with a tough life there. So I have really high expectations for the steaminess there, and I've also heard the plot is really great. I'm not sure what to think about the art, but I think in terms of steaminess, it will be my last straw. Then I think this also is censored for the console release as Sanzen Sekai Yugi, which is one of the few games, Otome games, dealing with the multiverse theory in a kind of nonsensical way, because the MC has to kill her other self in a parallel universe in order to save herself, save the universe, I don't know. She's voiced, which can be a hit or miss for me in Steamy games. Like I didn't really like it in Koizado because all the time I heard the MC moan and not the LI, and that was kind of distracting for me. So I wonder how it's in this game, and she seems like a very confident and strong woman. Yeah, I hope she'll have a lot of fun in the Steamy scenes. I also have some hopes for the Dance with Devils FD, but I can't tell yet. A definitely Steamy and D game is Otsusemi no Meguri. There you have to, I think, like kind of fight off some yokai or something. They all go yandere, but kind of steamy yandere if you like to. And the voice actors, oh, they're so top notch in this game, and the art is really beautiful. I think the story might be a bit, well, I'll see. But I think that's really good. Like, maybe the story is not important, but the theme might be satisfying game. And then I wonder if Kyokai no Shirayuki is a hidden Steam champion because of the biting fetish all the characters have. But I'll tell you as soon as I got to the review. That's it from Steamy games from my side. I'm kind of surprised how many Steamy games there are and how many Steamy games in disguise there are, at least what I perceive as Steamy, like Tengai ni Mao, which is C2B technically, but it was so Steamy for me. Or Shinobi Koyotsutsu, which is C2C, but oh my god, it should so be C2D. And as always, a huge shout out for my patrons who support me so much so that I can enjoy my steaminess. So I need to cool off for a bit. But yeah, please do share your impressions of Steamy games. Another Steamy game I missed, which is your favorite Steamy games. Do you like Steamy games at all? Do you want more Steamy games? I think most people always want more Steamy games. And I talk about that exact female fan service in that video, like talking about like how women deal with steaminess and how Otome games give us the fan service we need and want.